Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Esteemed Gentleman podcast for Friday, October 1st. I'm your host, Scott Labrie, and joined alongside me, as always, we have Uncle Teabag, Tyler Sunt,
Hello.
the man with the nicest haircut in the room.
Fresh cut G. Finally.
And the man with no haircut, I guess.
Going
All day
full
after
rugged.
Shane.
Going full rugged caveman, I guess.
There you go.
Half
Real
laziness, half
rugged.
like I don't feel like getting. So mostly laziness, all of it.
Au natural, as they say.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, it is the start of a new month, and we celebrate the start of a new month by looking at last month.
Yeah.
And we go over all the things we've been playing, watching, reading. I doubt any of us are reading. Well, maybe Tyler might be reading.
maybe a little bit, yeah. So.
He's
Yeah,
definitely
a little bit.
writing. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of writing.
All right.
And not necessarily reading, like audiobooks. I guess that would count as reading.
Does that count? Because I do.
I don't know.
I do audiobooks as well, but I don't consider that reading. To me, reading is like a specific mental task almost. Audiobooks is no different than watching a movie where you're just being fed the information, where it's still entertaining.
Yeah,
Right.
I find I don't know.
I don't know if it's necessarily reading, but you're still getting content, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
I know it's not the same, because if I would have listened to an audiobook growing up instead of reading, I would have gotten shit for it from my parents. So
Right.
it's not the same. It's oh, listen to an audiobook. You're not reading. It's like it's the same thing. Like, no, it's not. No.
Remember those things you get like with the cassette and when you hear this noise, turn the page. Or whatever.
Yeah, you turn the page.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, and I guess it is a little bit different because when you read a book, whose voice do you hear when you're reading it, right? Whereas you're listening to an audiobook, you got somebody like Toby Longsworth reading it, and he's got that deep, and he can impersonate like 10 different voices, so you know exactly who's talking. Whereas if you're reading, it's like, Garviel Loken did this to Torgadon. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys again? Like, I can't remember, but when he does the voice, say, oh yeah, that guy. So it's like, yeah. So I can see how it is different. It is different. You're still getting content, but it's not quite reading. It's very close, but not quite. There we go.
There you go.
Debate settled.
The definitive answer.
That's right.
On audiobooks, if it's reading or not. So yeah, should we start with games we've been playing? I guess you guys, who wants to go first?
I think we've all started playing a new game this month here. It's all kind of
taken
over our lives a little bit.
Mine especially.
Here's Tyler's, yes, yeah.
Yep.
That would be Magic the Gathering. Yeah, so
MTG Arena.
Arena specifically,
MTG Arena.
Not the physical card version, just the Magic on the computer and on the tablets. And yeah, I always liked it. I enjoyed playing it every now and then, but it was one of those games where I prefer to play with somebody else. And finally getting you guys to play. Well, Scott played it before, but I got Tyler to play too as well. And yeah, it's like, okay, now you know how awesome this game kind of is. So
that's the cat's ass for sure. It's so addictive. It reminds me of my favorite sub game, Gwent from The Witcher, which I got addicted to, which is really strange because it's just like a little building game within it. It's the same idea, but just way better. Way more better realized. Great animations and stuff too. The music's great. Sound effects are great. The card styles, the customization.
The fact it's been around for so long, there's so many different card types and different ways to play. It's not like, you can just you find there's always I know with Yu-Gi-Oh! And with other competitive card types, there's a one meta, and that one meta always trumps all the cards that's current you can play right now. But with Magic, it can be you can have the meta deck and still get your ass kicked because you just don't have the right cards, right? So it's a lot more open on that end to be more competitive and have more fun with it. Where I might lose, but I might win too as well. It's not like, no, I'm going against this one guy with one type of deck. I'm going to lose right away, no matter what. So you hardly see that. I find. I think
with Magic, it's like there really isn't a meta per se. Like I guess sometimes in tournaments there are, because usually tournaments focus on the newer expansions. So, but if you're just going full on, go crazy, do whatever you want, and put in your deck, then there really isn't a meta. There's a counter for everything in that game. You just have the right cards.
Yeah.
And part of that is because there's 5 different colors, and also you can have a mixture of 2, 3, all 5 if you really wanted to, and
Yeah.
plus there's a bajillion abilities. Like I used to play in high school, like religiously. Like I had boxes and boxes of Magic the Gathering cards, multiple decks, spent multiple hundreds of dollars accumulating cards. And yeah, that was like what me and my friends did basically at lunchtime every day for all of high school. So it was pretty sweet. And then of course I moved away and didn't have anybody else to play with, so I sold my cards because I was like, well, I'll never find anybody else to play with. And lo and behold, like 5-6 years later, hey, let's get into Magic. It's like, fuck's sake. And what ends up happening is I spend money on the goddamn game again because that's just how it is.
Well, yeah. It comes back. Yeah, it's amazing. Like how you said, there's no real meta, because I noticed that in this last season that we're playing, I was doing really, really well with like just a zombie deck, like just straight up the black deck, and I was doing really, really well with that. And then Carly comes at me with like a water deck, and just absolutely obliterates me. I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on? Like, so it just depends. Like, you have to have a hand that will counteract everything. And some people might have more instants or spells or fucking hexes or whatever. And then other people just have strength in numbers. Every time you kill one, 3 more pop up or whatever. Oh, it's so much fun. And I found out a really interesting fact tonight too. Speaking of, I was on YouTube perusing, and Post Malone apparently is huge into Magic. He just loves it. And I was watching him play, and he has a 3-color deck, and like he knows all the terminology. I'm like, what? I don't really like his music, but now I'm going to start listening to it because this is cool, man. Like, good for you, buddy.
Oh, he's a huge nerd. Oh,
he is. Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Yeah.
And of course, this has nothing to do with Magic, but he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, just it's going to look a little silly because I don't have my replacement teeth in the front here, so whatever. This is a little treat for you guys. And he's like laughing, he's like, oh, like half his teeth are missing because he doesn't have his filled teeth. Frick, he's fucking funny too. And he did all the music for the channel. I have to figure out what the name of the YouTube channel is. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty sweet. Posty.
Yeah, no.
Posty Maloney.
That was one game where I didn't get into it when I first had the chance to, and now it's like, yeah, I can enjoy it a lot now. So it's just for me, it was the physical card game. I still have no desire to play. It's cool to collect them, sure, but I still have no desire to buy the cards and go out and play the card physically. Online, it taps everything for you, does everything for you automatically. It looks nicer, sounds nice, like perfect. Games don't take forever to organize and play. It's all done automatically. I love that part of it. So I think I'll stick with the online version before I do the in-person version for this time. The future coming here for sure.
I'd have to have like a calculator beside me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'd be like, you'd have to have like I don't know, like when you put like how when you play with the cards, like what I can't wrap my mind around is like when it has lifelink and it has death whatever, and it has like a hex proof thing, but if you spend the right amount of mana to cast this spell, then you can do it. So it's like, how do you keep track of all that? You must have like little markers or indicators showing that these things are active. Oh, it's at 5 and 5 right now, but when it hits, then I get 5. It takes 5 off this, but then it reverts back to 2 and 2 again because it only activates for the duration of your turn. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is also solved with like when they say put a +1/+1 counter. Like, that thing is like in the game. It's a physical piece, like little token. Put on your card. To signify that this is a +1/+1.
Gotcha.
And then if it's +3/+3, then you put 3 on there, and then that's a buffed up guy.
Cool.
Then, and then I mean it is also like just kind of doing math with your head, like But I mean it's really. You're very rarely getting something that's over 10 power a lot of times, so it's like you should be able to do 4 - 3 or something like that in your head.
Hey, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
And then I mean, like with like the mana and all that stuff, like when you tap it, you physically turn it on its side. That way, that's been spent.
used.
You have this
Right.
remaining.
Right.
So yeah, like me playing the real version for years, like playing this computer version, I could still it's like, this is the fake version. It's like,
This isn't real.
This isn't
I can't
real.
tap it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One day this gets uninstalled and I'm not going to have these cards. Whereas, if I actually
Mhm.
bought them, I'd still have them, which is kind of.
Yeah, that too. That's one thing where I'm on the fence when it comes to like digital versions of card games because I'm paying. If you want to pay for the cards yourself, it's like I'm paying money to get the chance to get these cards. But if the game gets erased or if I lose that file, well, I spent money on something that's not tangible. So with the physical version, you have the card itself. So I'm that's where I'm worried about spending money on those kind of games where it's like, well, it's not real. So how can I justify spending real money on that, right? So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like, because even Carly now too, she's like, she goes out for a smoke and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna challenge you before I go for a smoke," so she can like play me while she's out smoking, and I'll be sitting there, whatever. Like, and she'll be like, well, she'll start it up, and before she like starts packing her bowl or whatever she's doing, she'll like fire up the game, and then she'll just stand and she'll be on the counter and she'll just play, and she'll forget that she's going up for a cigarette because she's just like so into it. So I think, because she said that she'd even be interested in getting an actual physical copy. And Scott's like, fuck, I had this already. Did you end up buying some more?
No, not yet. No,
not yet.
I was debating. Because there are some, like, I guess I looked into it. There's some Planeswalker decks you can buy that actually have a code that you can redeem on the game too, and it unlocks that deck in for you in the game too, which is kind of nice.
That'd be nice.
Cool.
But all those pre-constructed decks are garbage anyway. So I mean, they're okay, but like
they're okay to get started. And I find that I go through them and I'm like, okay, I unlock these. Oh, this would work really good with this, and then you get rid of that one because I don't use that or whatever. Like I like that. It's a good base set. Then you can fuck with it a little bit. Like with that death deck there, I took the big demons out and I put all the zombies in. I'm like, oh yeah, this is more my style. I like this. I like things that die and come back.
Right. I guess like the main like problems I have with this game compared to like the real version is like, one, if you're having like say there's a deck that you look up or whatever, and like, okay, I want to make this deck in the like real version, you just go buy the singles of those cards. You go onto a website where they have them in inventory. You pay maybe $3 per rare or $5 per mythic rare or something like that, and that way you're taking the chance out of it, which maybe some people are like, that's lame, but that's just the way it works.
That's the way those cards.
Yeah, you're just gonna keep buying till you get it.
This one, it's just like, it is the total random thing. It's like all you can do is buy packs. They kind of have those wild cards to kind of balance it out, where
you can craft
those into those, which is kind of okay. But I'd like it just that you buy the wild cards on their own. Maybe, I don't know, that might break the game, but I mean, that's just how Magic's worked for years anyways.
Right.
And then like the other issue I have is like the constant like stopping of the game, kind of like where it's like you have an instant or an ability that you can play, it'll always like stop on every single phase, even though it's like, why would I ever make my guy +1 +0 for no reason at all? Like, just skip this. Whereas in the real version, it's just like you stop the play when you're ready to stop it, and you're like, hold on, I'm playing something, and then you go and do that.
Right.
So
maybe, hey, wait, can I just see what your card? What does your card do here? Okay, and then let's go.
Read it, and then you go like, counter that.
But that's with all like video game versions of card games. So Yu-Gi-Oh was the same way too. It's like it would stop you after every card played. It's like, oh, do you want to counter this spell? Like, no, just keep going, dude. But that's how all of them are.
Well, I know what you mean. And I'm playing too, and it's like, oh, do you want to cast a ritual? I'm like, dude, there's casting a spell. What I'm gonna? Well, I guess I could sacrifice my zombie before they obliterate it. I guess, but I mean,
something. Yeah, that's just par for the course. Yeah, with the physical medium, you ignore that part, but online, you have to have that in place just to be able to play that mechanism. That's all. So it is annoying, but yeah.
Gotcha. Just to remind you, like, hey, you can do something about this. Whereas people who don't know, they're just like, okay, yeah, and they get their ass kicked. Like, what the hell? Well, you can counteract these.
Yeah.
So thank God that's on there for me. I don't mind it because I'm kind of dumb that way.
I did find though, like, playing those like tutorial, like the color challenges at the beginning is like a really good way of like learning the game. They did a like really good job of
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
teaching you like the different
fundamentals.
abilities and like hey, you have a second main phase after your combat phase, and that's actually pretty important depending on what you're playing. So it's like
Right.
that's kind of interesting.
And just the customization. However you play, like whatever in your mind would work for you, you can fucking do anything. Like your vampire thing, I had no idea you could have all this vampire shit too. It's just like, oh man, it's so cool. But then I'm looking too, and there's like all demonic stuff. You can do like demons and fucking like
demons, dragons, angels,
wizards, angels, fucking
worms. You can do all
death orcs and
orcs, werewolves.
What did you say?
merfolk.
Merfolk, yeah. Like
Kithkin.
yeah.
Kithkin.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like we could talk about this for a whole
Yeah.
podcast.
We'll
We're
move on.
We'll move on now.
Magic the
Everybody's
Gathering.
Yes.
Magic the
Been
Gathering,
around
check
since
it
the
out.
70s. Pretty good.
Yep. It's a free app. Get it. Play it.
Mhm.
It's very fun.
And any other games you guys have been playing? I think I mentioned earlier that I was playing Breath of the Wild again, but I haven't played in a few days. But that game's still good.
Still dope.
Surprise.
That's good. I finally. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I started playing a game called 40K Space Marine. Warhammer 40K. I've known about it for years. It finally came out. I'm like, oh, I'll buy it. And it's the anniversary edition, so all the DLC was free. Everything else, like, oh, sure, I'll play for a bit. And yeah, I wish I was playing this, 10 years ago when it came out, because it is fucking awesome.
It's fun. That is really fun.
You feel overpowered. It's fun to shoot orcs. They explode. It's what a proper 40K game should be like. So yeah, I enjoy it.
And the only way you can recover your health is by slaughtering orcs in the most gruesome way possible. Just fucking shit up.
Yep.
You have to do like finishing moves on them.
Finishing moves and curves off them. Like, oh, health goes up. Sweet.
Yeah. Chainsword and just cut them in half. Yeah,
a lot of fun. Oh, that and No Man's Sky I got back to as well. That was so keep me you guys to play that, because I haven't played it for a while, and then a new update came out a little while ago, and yeah, it's still as fun as it was before. So yeah,
I might have to do that.
Mhm.
When does Carly get paid? We'll have to get that. Carly, we're buying 2 games. Or sorry, you're buying 2 games. Yeah. I finally beat Outlast 2, the second one. And I don't know what happened. A lot of it's in his head, I know that, but it's just like I don't. And the ending of the game was one of the most fucked up things I've ever experienced playing a video game. Even in movies too, like it was pretty demented.
yeah.
So yeah, you find out what happened when he was a kid in this religious school. So it's what you can imagine.
Oh, geez, yeah.
With this girl and this priest teacher person, and yeah. And then at the end of the game too, this Father Noth, this religious cult leader guy, that's basically killing all the women part of this cult because they think that they're gonna bear the Antichrist, like give birth to the Antichrist. And so basically, what your character. I didn't realize at the beginning. I must have missed the whole thing, because you're actually married to the reporter that you're with when the helicopter crashes. Oh. And by the time you finally find her and break her out of where she's being held, she's like ready to, like she's pregnant and ready to pop. And he's like, what the hell just happened? Over the span of like one night, she's like ready to give birth, and everybody like in this cult is freaking out and whatever, and making mass sacrifices and graves and like, oh. So then at the end, you finally get her out, and she's like, I can't go anymore, and then she like lays down and gives birth right in your hands, like first person. I'm just like,
whoa.
I'm watching this. I'm like, oh. See, and then you take the baby, and then she just like, and then she passes out, and it's a little girl. And then the Father Noth is like, God didn't hear our prayers. We did all the sacrifices. We made all the sacrifices. Isn't that enough to get his attention? Blah blah blah. And you walk out, and it's literally like a recreation of what actually happened with the Kool-Aid. The exact same thing. You walk out the front of the chapel, and like you're walking over piles of bodies. And I'm like, there's okay. You can make scary games. Look at Alien. Isolation.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrifying. This game was terrifying, but it was the most gross out, unsettling, make you sick to your stomach. Like, they went places that not very many video games I don't think ever have, and it's almost like mainstream. Like it's above the first one. Like for quality, it's so good. Yeah. The voice acting, well, don't get me wrong. There are some parts where I was like literally like going like like making that involuntary noise because I was running from this crazy topless mud woman from these mines, and she's got like this torch, and she's walking, and she's looking for you, and she's like, God might not love you, but I do. Come be with me. And she's like walking. She's got like this scythe that's all rusty, and she's like all fucked up. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm like running away from her. Not like Lady Dimitrescu. It's like, okay, yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. I don't care, right? But this one's just like, oh God, get away, please. This one's like, no, oh God, just pissing myself. So yeah, if you want to be really disturbed and horrified and never ever forget an experience like this, you should play this game. But otherwise,
Yeah, I'm looking at screenshots while you're talking there. I'm like, oh yeah, I want none of this game right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Especially like the flashbacks in the school was probably the more scary parts. A lot of more jump out scares. Then the other one was just so disgusting. It was so like graphically, like it looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But they spent all that time making disgusting, beautiful things. Disgusting things look beautiful. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. But I finished that one, and I started playing a little bit of Spider-Man again because I'm interested in getting Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
And I also got the two that were on sale, the Dark Pictures Anthology, like I was saying a little bit there. The guys that made Until Dawn. It's all choices and whatever. So the first one's Madden of Medan, it's called. So you're playing like these group of kids that are going to look at some World War II wreckage, like deep sea diving, and then something happens. And then the second one is like you're on a bus going somewhere with all these people, and you got to go through Little Hope. It's kind of like a Silent Hill kind of idea. They drive through Silent Hill, and then like weird shit starts happening, and you got to make choices for everybody. And it's multiplayer too, which is really interesting. So you can play like a two-person, like you control the thoughts and motivations of one character, and then the other person does the whatever. So you can kind of fuck with each other, or you can work together, or try to come up with a good conclusion, right? Like, do you want, like, you basically want your character to survive, right? Because it's your person or whatever. So it's really interesting. Then there's like a party mode too. I don't know how that works, but I have to look more into it. So I don't know. It's really well done, and a lot of the actors I don't know the names of, but I've seen them in stuff before. Those kind of actors.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, been a lot of fun with those.
Spooky games just before Halloween there.
Oh yeah, spooky season, baby. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for the video game portion. Move on to movies, TV shows. Anybody watching anything you want to talk about?
TV shows. I'm not watching anything, but I just watched Child's Play.
The original one with
No, the remake. The one that Mark Hamill voices Chucky.
Oh.
And yeah, it was disturbing. It was so cheesy. It was very fake. It's like this. I can't see this happening. It was a cool idea. I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, hey, what about whatever? Because they were like so into it, and Audrey Plaza is the mother of the kid, and that Chucky's kind of working with. So instead of it being like a possessed doll in this one, it's an AI. It's an artificial intelligence. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, that doesn't seem creepy to me.
No, not at all.
Because the old one was creepy because it's a serial killer whose spirit possesses this doll and goes on a killing spree, right?
That's just small soldiers with killing. That's not
pretty
new.
Pretty much. And then at the end, he's able to like manipulate all the Caslan Industries fucking robotics, like drones and like electric cars and stuff. I'm like, come on. But the kills were very original and made me squirm and like, so that part was good, but the story was so far fetched, and the acting was like subpar. But Mark Hamill, of course, nails it because he's...
Of course, he's Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I was cheering for Chucky the whole time, and I don't think you're supposed to. So, yeah, it's one of those. It was one of those. And then the detective looked like he literally got like his badge and gun from fucking Toys R Us or something. I don't know. I don't know, man. It was... Some parts were awesome. Other parts were just like... Yeah, I don't know. But if you want to watch a good gory film, turn your brain off, have some popcorn, watch some good kills, few jump scares. That's a good one. It's short and sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
But you, Eric, you watching anything? Or
I didn't watch too many. Didn't watch nothing to say. The only thing I watched recently was probably I watched Free Guy yesterday with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, how was that?
Now I enjoyed it a little bit. It is. I wouldn't
goofy.
give it the rating it has on Rotten Tomatoes rating. It was all right. It was better than what I thought it would be for a video game movie, but some parts were enjoyable. But it was still very much like, okay, it was cool, but it's nothing to really
It's
write
a
home
Ryan
about.
Reynolds
It's a
movie.
Ryan Reynolds goofy movie, and it's all right. They tried to make it look like GTA and feel like GTA in the game, but it's not, and it's all about AI and stuff. It's like, okay, it's very far fetched, but it was all right. It was passable.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a lot more fun probably watch it in theaters, I would think, but I never saw it.
Yeah.
Is it like
So.
PG or PG-13?
It's PG-13 because
Okay.
there's a few shits and one F-bomb in it. And it's a very underwhelming F-bomb. I'm like, oh really? That's where they use it at? Okay,
Right.
whatever.
You can say
But no,
PG-13 movie.
I would still recommend watching it. It's it's one I wouldn't say watch with the kids, maybe with the teenagers, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
decent enough family movie and fun.
There's a few I still want to watch. That's on Netflix. Netflix has gotten quite a few new ones on there. I really want to check out the Squid Game, but
And then
I've heard good things.
Yeah, that one too. That one I want to watch because I've heard good things, but at the same time, it's like I'm not a huge fan of these like twisted Korean like horror movies.
Oh, they're so good.
You
They're
are, I know,
so good.
yeah, it's like, but because you're saying Scott, your sisters really enjoyed it too, right? So
Well, I can tell you that I've watched all but 2 episodes of the Squid Game so far.
Oh, and
It's very good. Very,
No.
very, very good.
Awesome. Glad to hear.
Very gory
Oh, good.
at points. Unsettling. But like they also do like a couple interesting things in it. Also, it's just like some parts are just fucking bonanza weird. Like they have like all these like people, they get like drugged and brought to this island or whatever to participate in. I don't even think they call it the Squid Games. It's just called the game or something.
the game,
Yeah.
But like it's all being run by these like workers who are all like in like a red jumpsuit, and they all have like a black mask with either like a white circle or a white triangle or a white square, and that like just kind of indicates their hierarchy. So like the square guys are like the bosses, and the triangles are second down, and circles are just like the grunts essentially.
Okay.
But they like never talk really. Only like the square guys talk, and yeah, like I think probably most people have seen clips of the first episode, which is they play red light, green light.
Yeah.
If they get caught moving on red light, essentially they just had a bunch of snipers and just were shooting people that were. And it was pretty freaking wild, man. Like
I can't wait.
Oh man.
because like
I'm sadistic.
yeah,
but-
I won't say what specifically what happens, but like there's some interesting things like there's a couple twists here. Like episode 2 changes things up a bit. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting, but overall been really good. I even cried at one of the episodes. It was I was like, oh shit, this show's got emotions to it.
Right? You care a little bit.
Yeah, so I got 2 episodes left. The second last episode, they're all like an hour each. Some are like 48 minutes. The second last episode's only like half an hour, and then the last one's an hour, which is kind of weird. But
Right.
so I'll probably finish that up tonight. So, but overall, so far, give it a recommend, half a recommend, because I don't know how it ends. So if it ends badly, sorry.
No, whatever.
And then I've been watching Ted Lasso still. Been a roller coaster of a season. Season finale is this weekend. Should be out today, well, Friday. If you're listening, that's out today. So I'll be watching that for sure. The recording software froze again, so we're just gonna hit. All right, and we're back. We'll have to look into this recording software issues we've been having, but apologize for that. But yeah, I was just talking about Ted Lasso. Been an excellent season, roller coaster of a season so far. A lot of twists and turns, emotions, and all this other stuff. And yeah, so last episode of the season comes out today while you're listening, and yeah, so far only 2 episodes that were kind of like really weird and not necessarily bad, but just weird. Like there was the Christmas episode, and then there was an episode like dedicated solely to Coach Beard, which is Ted Lasso's assistant coach.
Yeah.
And like normally like episodes like focus on like 3 different plot threads. This one was just like all him the whole entire episode, which kind of made it weird, but whatever. It's been good so far, so excited to watch the finale. So
highly recommend that show. Good
absolutely.
show.
So can binge watch it all starting tomorrow. So there you go. And I think that's pretty much all I've been watching.
Yeah, I started watching Star Wars Visions. I think you started watching this, Scott, at all?
Not yet.
I watched the first 4 last night, and yeah, not bad. That's probably my favorite one so far has been like the very first one, which is very much like the much more classic anime style, like more, and it's all based around like just I forget what the studio is called. You ever seen Batman Ninja? It's the same studio that did that one, so it's a lot more like watercolor almost kind of textures and look to it. So I really enjoyed how that one looked. And then the Studio Trigger one was really eye popping. But yeah, they're cute little videos, but like there's not much. They're mostly filler, not much really weight to them where stuff is going on. It's like, oh yeah, they're passable. Next, yeah, it's yeah. I would recommend it if you're Star Wars
non-canon and 30 minutes long.
No, they're still canon. There's canon stuff, like I guess canon stuff still, but they're just like half hour.
Yeah.
Some are 15 minutes long. Some are close to an hour. Yeah, so it just depends on what they were allotted for and what they wanted to talk about. But at the first 4, all right so far. I think there's like 8 or 9 to watch. So yeah, but yeah, I don't mind. If you're a Star Wars fan, I recommend checking them out for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll probably check that out this weekend. So. Radio. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, nothing else comes to mind.
All right. Well,
no.
Let's wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe. If you're listening on a podcast service, subscribe to the feed. Give us a positive rating. And head over to our Facebook page. Like the page. Drop us a question because Monday is Ask Us Anything. Eric, you all right there? You're kind of...
Yeah, my camera just went really yellow.
It's super yellow orangey.
Like,
I'm like,
whoa,
am I having... There's something wrong with my eye?
I'm having a stroke? What the hell happened? Sorry.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, ask us a question for Ask Us Anything Monday, which is Monday. And we'll be back here. Have a great weekend. Toodaloo.
Toodles.
See you guys.